Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 79 based on novel. So let's start. The border of the ancient country of Yangfeng, Xiangjie City. In a quiet room in the garrison, Luo Feng sat cross-legged and took a sip from a wine jug. The wine jug contained the precious medicine, Shengbing treasure medicine, that Luo Feng had specially purchased to assist in his practice. It was refined using materials from divine kings and exotic beasts. After taking it, Luo Feng felt that his soul had become cooler and clearer. It is worthy of being a special inheritance. Luo Feng spent tens of thousands of days to study this special inheritance, world life form, superficially. Just for the guidance in the inheritance, these 30 reward points are worth it. This inheritance was created by Yuan's good friend. The creator was too powerful, far surpassing the creators of 8 Tribulations life form and 72 Blades of Destruction. Just a few words in the inheritance made Luo Feng realize some key points of the path of cultivation. For the life in the cage, there is the origin avenue to refer to, so the difficulty of cultivation is relatively low. But outside the cage, cultivation is like groping in the dark, creating your own path. The difficulty of cultivation is many times higher. So when you are at the bottom of your career, you need to improve your understanding. Any aspect of a practitioner can be improved. The body skills, wisdom, understanding, soul, will. There are methods of practice for each aspect, and understanding is the most illusory of them all. Luo Feng also agreed with this. Comprehension is very illusory. Among countless practitioners, they generally rely on taking some rare treasures, such as the Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit, to nourish the soul, which can be considered to improve their understanding to a certain extent. Or maybe the will of the mind becomes stronger. When the will of the mind becomes stronger, the understanding does improve. Or you can focus on cultivating your soul. The path of the soul is the most difficult path, but the improvement of the essence of the soul will indeed bring about an improvement in your understanding. If the body becomes extremely powerful, it will nourish the soul, and the thinking process will become extremely fast, which can also be considered helpful for understanding. But these are all indirect. How far one can go on the road of the Great Way depends on one's understanding. How to improve your understanding? I have a method: use the mysteries of the lower level to create the mysteries of the higher level. Luo Feng also fully understood the creator's thoughts. For example, the Trinity form. If you have realized the 6 major branches of the origin of life, with the complete 6 major branches, you can easily create the Trinity form. It is not difficult at all. But if you only master the mysteries of the peak of the Chaos realm and try to create the Trinity secret method, the difficulty will immediately soar. This process of trying can gradually improve your understanding. According to the creator of the tradition, one should not deliberately seek breakthroughs when practicing. You need to constantly create high-level secrets from a low-level state. Create 1, 2, 5, 10. When your accumulation reaches an extremely deep level, even if you don't deliberately break through, you will naturally break through one day. When practicing at the Divine King level, there is a clear guide of the origin. This is the best time to hone your understanding. Once you surpass the God King level, you will be forced to grope in the dark. Many practitioners are used to being guided by the Great Way. Suddenly they are groping in the dark and find it difficult to move forward. Not to mention completely breaking free from the cage. This inheritance was magnificent and broadened Luo Feng's horizons. Luo Feng's mentality has changed. Before, he took the Hunyuan crystal spirit fruit and had always been eager to master a certain branch of the avenue and wanted to break through to a new realm. Now, it seems that the fundamental thing is to cultivate the ability to explore in the dark and cultivate understanding. The sudden progress of the Great Tao realm is a matter of letting things take their course. My progress in cultivation is already very fast, there is no need to rush. I try to use the mysteries of the Great Tao at the level of the Chaos realm to create a God King level secret method. Luo Feng thought that those who achieved Chaos realm transcendence by creating their own secret methods were this kind of strong people. Luo Feng's Trinity form is a Divine King level secret method, but he only created one. I can also study the materials of the Hunyuan bloodline creatures and their life forms. Luo Feng immediately had a clone that passed through the suppressed world entrance and headed for the suppressed world. This guarded world is called Xiangjie. There are many chaotic level creatures with the bloodline of Hunyuan reproducing. Chaos realm strength means that the chaotic origin bloodline is already at its thinnest. If it continues to degenerate, it will begin to lose the characteristics of the chaotic origin bloodline. A huge creature like a rock sculpture was lying there, its breathing causing a storm, its body lines were streamlined, and its huge hooves were lying there, with its head resting on the hooves. Suddenly a man in black appeared nearby. The huge creature suddenly opened its eyes and looked at Luo Feng with its yellow pupils. Cultivator? The huge creature looked at Luo Feng with fear and hostility. What are you doing in our world? Get away from here. During its growing years, cultivators often entered this world, and occasionally some creatures with Hunyuan bloodline were taken away, never to return. Boom! Luo Feng stretched out his hand, and a billion black rivers surged out, transforming into a giant palm that grabbed the neck of the huge creature. He lifted up the huge creature directly. Let me go, let me go. The huge creature was in a panic. It looked at Luo Feng. Are you going to take me away? I know that you practitioners always take away a group of Hunyuan bloodline creatures. Are they all dead? In fact, this is true. The creatures with the chaotic origin bloodline that were taken away would have their bloodline refined again and again, until they died completely. They were bred and cultivated for the purpose of refining the weakened version of the military origin bloodline. I need to pick some creatures of the Hunyuan bloodline to take away. Luo Feng's huge black river hand pinched the neck of the huge creature and said leisurely, however, as long as you give me some body materials, I can let you go. Will you let me go if I give you some materials? The huge creature whose neck was being strangled could feel the difference in strength between them, a difference that left them with no power to resist. In the realm of the living, even the most perfect creatures of the chaos level and the Hunyuan bloodline can only fight against ordinary god kings by relying on instinct. They are still inferior to Luo Feng at this moment. Yes, some materials. You have to promise that you will not destroy these materials at will. If you destroy the materials, I will have to take you away myself. Luo Feng said. There will be envoys from the ancient country of Yangfeng, bringing living creatures. However, these creatures of Hunyuan bloodline cannot distinguish whether they are messengers or not. In their eyes, everyone outside this world is a cultivator. Okay, I'll give it to you. Faced with the power gap that left no room for resistance, the huge creature lowered its head obediently. Very good. Luo Feng nodded with satisfaction. I'll pick some materials. According to Luo Feng's request, a claw blade of this huge creature, a piece of skin membrane, a small piece of bone, some blood. Although there are many categories, the total amount is very small. The huge creature can fully recover in just a few breaths. You let me go with just this little bit of material? It secretly felt lucky. Luo Feng began to frequently collect some materials in the Guardian world. For the Yangfeng ancient country, as long as these Hunyuan bloodline creatures were not killed and the extraction of the Hunyuan bloodline was not delayed, the Yangfeng ancient country would not care even if they were beaten fiercely. Luo Feng either lied, beat him, or even captured him and took him to the Star Tower. Capturing one and bringing it into the Star Tower would also scare the other Hunyuan bloodline creatures in this world and make them hand over the materials more obediently. Of course, Luo Feng would also encounter stubborn ones who would not yield their heads no matter how hard he tried, and would not allow Luo Feng to study even a drop of blood. Then Luo Feng could only temporarily imprison them in the Star Tower, which was also to maintain his bad reputation in this world and let other creatures of the Hunyuan bloodline know that if they did not obediently give materials, they would be taken away. Of course, if one day, the envoys from the ancient country of Yangfeng come to inspect, Luo Feng can just release the imprisoned creatures back. According to Luo Feng's understanding, the envoys from the ancient country of Yangfeng would only come for inspection once in thousands of centuries or even longer. Time passes quickly for practitioners. They are immersed in their practice and research, and the centuries go by. The outside world thought that Luo He, who created his own secret method to become the first to transcend the Chaos Realm, would, with his strength, stir up some waves and earn enough benefits for himself. But to their surprise, Luo He became very low-key. He did not accept any more missions and did not get involved in any disputes. Even in Huyang City, Xiangjie City and Chu capital, few practitioners could visit and see Luo He. In a blink of an eye, 100 centuries had passed since Luo Feng guarded Xiangjie City. The ancient country of thunder, Zhuoshan City, is the city of Zhuoshan Jin, the new chaos realm transcendent of the ancient country of thunder. Zhuoshan Jin, as a chaos realm transcendent who had completely joined the ancient thunder nation, was naturally granted a city. The chaos origin bloodline is indeed full of countless secrets. The mountain guest was in the quiet room. He still looked ordinary. His aura was completely restrained. The Chaos Origin bloodline is like the most perfect weapon secret treasure, containing endless avenue mysteries. Sanka is also constantly studying the composition of the Hunyuan bloodline and the mysteries of the great Tao contained therein. In the process of tapping into the potential of his bloodline, his mastery level was slowly improving, and he naturally reached the state of transcendence in the Chaos realm. A normal cultivator's strength will undergo a transformation once he or she switches to practicing the Hunyuan bloodline. I am in contact with the weakest Hunyuan bloodline. The remaining will is a bit troublesome. There was a faint red light in the eyes of the hermit, and then it was suppressed. This will can be suppressed, but it cannot be erased. The remaining will is too high. The hermit suddenly flipped his hand and took out a round token. This is the latest information from the King of Food. A piece of information suddenly came over. The enemy of Zhuoshanku, the three kings of Shi Kingdom, is headed by King Qiankuan, who is also the Real King of Shi Kingdom. In the eyes of Zhuoshanka, his disciple Luo Feng was extremely talented, and the other two kings were not a big threat, and it would not be difficult to get rid of them in the future. However, the leader, the King of Qiankuan, was a bit troublesome. The Lord of Qiankuan, after all, is a second-level god king. Even if an emperor takes action, he dare not say that he can completely kill him. The hatred of the mountain guest has long been deep in his soul. His clan and his wife are too weak and have no ability to perform the secret art of reincarnation. They are destined to die completely. He naturally desires to kill his enemy completely. The King of Food, together with many good friends, set up an ambush in the precious land Jianhe and besieged the King of Yu. Under pressure, the King of Yu took the initiative to dive into the deepest part of Jianhe. The King of Yu is in danger of losing his real body. But this piece of information made Zhuoshanka's face change slightly. The King of Food and the King of Yu had always had a big conflict, and this time the King of Yu suffered a big setback. The King of Yu also turned to cultivate the Hunyuan bloodline, and countless resources were poured into his body. If his real body dies, in a short period of time, his strength will be greatly damaged. Zhuoshanka thought. The Lord of Yu State, although dead, could not really die. But his true body was gone, and to recover with the help of a resurrection carrier, he would also need to buy new Hunyuan blood and new resources to practice. The situation in Shi and Yu may change completely. Zhuoshanka was a little worried. Judging from the many actions of the Lord of Shi, he must have joined a large force to quietly gather several second-level divine kings to act together again and again. If you are strong, you can also have companions to help you quickly. The more information Zhuoshanka collected, the more he realized how difficult it was to take revenge. I don't know how my disciple is doing now. Zhuoshanka understood that there was no hope for him to rely on himself. It was already amazing that he could reach the invincible level of the first level of the Divine King with the help of the Hunyuan bloodline. But this level is still weaker than that of the Lord of Qiankuan. Not to mention completely killing him. His only hope is still on his disciples. My disciple's miniature universe and divine body are both larger than those in the history of the origin continent. He was able to master the elemental arts when he was still young. After being on the origin continent for dozens of centuries, he is the number one in the chaos realm. But he has no information in the past 100 years. Zhuoshanka didn't know much about Luo Feng's situation, and he had no plan to meet Luo Feng. In his plan, the time for them to recognize each other would come when Luo Feng's strength was at least as great as that of the Lord of Qiankuan State. Xiangjie City is much more prosperous than it was 100 centuries ago. The fact that the great sage Luohe, who was absolutely number one in the Chaos Realm Transcendent, was punished and had to guard Xiangjie City for 10,000 epochs, had spread over time, and even the ordinary Eternal True God family had heard about it. There are more and more small forces, branches of large clans, and Eternal True God families willing to settle in Xiangjie City. Many trades between the two ancient countries were also settled here. First, it was a border city with a geographical advantage. Second, it was safe. The larger the amount of trade, the more important safety was. Killing and plundering were common in the origin continent. But in a city ruled by the great sage Luohe, how many people would dare to come here and cause trouble? General Noyu. General Noyu. Mo Yu Qingyang led several personal guards to the garrison. The guards in front of the gate of the garrison were quite respectful. Today, Mo Yu Qingyang has great power in Xiangjie City. More than 10 centuries ago, after reaching the Eternal True God through the bloodline cultivation system, Luo Feng and Yuanzhu intended to let him manage some affairs in the city. Yuanzhu was the deputy garrison commander. According to Luo Feng's orders, Yuanzhu represented Luo Feng in the city. Mo Yu Qingyang served as the inspector general, in charge of many trivial matters in the city. General Mo Yu. Inside the garrison, the servants were quite respectful when they saw Mo Yu Qingyang. Everyone knows that this is the only disciple guarding the town. Mo Yu Qingyang had a smooth journey and soon saw a figure sitting on a high building in the distance. He immediately rushed over. Master. Mo Yu Qingyang came to the pavilion and bowed respectfully. Come up. Luo Feng glanced at the disciples below and smiled. He was satisfied with this disciple. Mo Yu Qingyang, although his talent was a little poor. With Mo Luo Sa's best efforts to teach him, he finally became a void true god with a law lineage. Even Mo Luo Sa decided to let him switch to the easier bloodline cultivation system. With the tilt of resources, he has now become an eternal true god. It doesn't matter if you are less talented, character is more important. As Luo Feng's only direct disciple in the origin continent, Mo Yu Qingyang has never abused his master's fame to do anything wrong. This is why even the original ancestor continues to delegate power to him. Mo Yu Qingyang quickly climbed up the pavilion and saw his master. The master was sitting there, seemingly ordinary. But Mo Yu Qingyang, relying on his own source of laws and his induction of the heaven and earth, could sense that the heaven and earth were centered around the master, and that a variety of laws of operation were forming and operating synchronously. Qingyang, is there something wrong? Luo Feng looked at his disciple with a smile. My disciple has been with Zhong Yunj of the Zhong family for a long time. She and I have also discussed that we are going to visit the Zhong family and his parents. After that, we will also go to Huyang City to visit my father together. Mo Yu Qingyang said respectfully. Oh? Have you decided on Zhong Yunj? Luo Feng said with a smile. For practitioners, it is not necessary to practice alone for a lifetime with a Taoist partner. There are many such partners. A Taoist partner is more of a spiritual partner, and choosing a Taoist partner is a very cautious matter. Disciple has decided. Mo Yu Qingyang nodded. Yes. Luo Feng nodded. Although Zhong Yunj is from the royal family, he is many generations away from Feng Zhong Shenwang. As my direct disciple, it is enough for you to marry him. God King Feng Zhong is a God King of the first level, a guest God King of the ancient country of Yangfeng. He has profound accumulations and is almost the same as the ancestor of the Snow Realm. There are countless royal families. Although Zhong Yunj is the eternal true god and a branch of the royal family, he is separated from the God King by too many generations, so his status is not very high. Morosa. Luo Feng immediately summoned Morosa. Morosa appeared in the pavilion in a flash and said with a smile, Master, are you looking for me? He also noticed Mo Yu Qingyang. Mo Yu Qingyang saluted immediately. Qingyang has set his sights on a girl from the Zhong family named Zhong Yunj and is planning to visit her parents. Luo Feng laughed. I know. Morosa knows much more than Luo Feng. I have advised him that he should focus on cultivation and that love between a man and a woman will only distract him, but this time he has set his sights on Zhong Yanj. Since we are going to pay a formal visit to the Zhong family, you should go on my behalf. Luo Feng said, after all, you are also in the Chaos realm. You should represent me enough to give face to the Zhong family. More than 10 centuries ago, after Mo Yu Qingyang became an eternal true god with the help of the bloodline cultivation system, Mo Luosa quickly revealed his strength after obtaining Luo Feng's consent. It shows that one has broken through to the Chaos realm. As the first Chaos realm transcendent, Luo Feng has a new Chaos realm follower. This is a very common and insignificant thing. After Morosa revealed his strength in the Chaos realm, Luo Feng also asked Mo Yu Qingyang to formally worship Morosa as his master. Luo Feng naturally understood the relationship between Morosa and Mo Yu Qingyang. Okay, I'll go on behalf of the master. Morosa immediately agreed. Thank you for troubling the second master. Mo Yu Qingyang also said. After all, you are my disciple too. Morosa was still very happy to do this. Luo Feng suddenly stretched out his hand and lightly tapped. A drop of water flew out from his fingertips and landed on Mo Yu Qingyang's palm. After it turned into a water drop mark, the mark disappeared. Mo Yu Qingyang was a little confused. Luo Feng said, we are going to the Zhong family now, and then you have to go to Huyang City. The journey is long. If you encounter danger, you can activate the mark with a thought, and it will protect you. The strength that Morosa can display is very limited, so Luo Feng still kept a trick up his sleeve for his disciple. Thank you, master. Mo Yu Qingyang said gratefully. When Morosa saw this scene, he muttered secretly, my master is obviously just a chaotic transcendent. I am the real God King, but his methods are now difficult for me to understand. Go, Luo Feng nodded. Mo Yu Qingyang immediately left respectfully. Morosa, however, stayed in the pavilion. Master, I'm going out alone. Morosa looked at his master. Remember to control the strength you display. Your limit is to reach 50% to 60% of Zhu Jianku's strength. Luo Feng gave the order through voice transmission. I understand. Morosa understood, then I will go and prepare to set off with Qingyang. Luo Feng nodded. His disciple was going to get married, and Luo Feng didn't want to interfere too much. Love is also the most wonderful journey in the life journey of one's own disciples. Treasure land, infinite space. Psychic creatures linger there. Luo Feng was in the distance. The minds and wills of both sides are colliding, confronting, and fighting. Luo Feng did not use the elemental technique, but used some methods he had figured out. During the confrontation, he was contaminated by some very chaotic thoughts. Almost. After a brief confrontation, Luo Feng had an idea. The will of the mind was condensed into a rolling star, directly crushing the huge spiritual power of the spiritual creature. This crushing instantly crushed more than 90%, leaving only a small amount of the purest spiritual power to condense again. The ninth calamity has passed, a voice sounded in the consciousness of the tentacle creature, and an invisible force descended, nourishing its remaining spiritual power and quickly recovering. The tentacle creature was filled with excitement at this moment, having finally survived thousands of tribulations, each of which was very difficult. This ninth tribulation was the result of Luo Feng's annihilation thousands of times, and the infinite space finally determined that its ninth tribulation had passed. Huh? Luo Feng's face changed slightly. How could he recover so quickly? We have fought each other thousands of times, but we will never see each other again. The tentacle creature looked at Luo Feng and then disappeared into thin air. Luo Feng thought for a moment, we won't see each other again. It looks like he will disappear. Some of the native creatures in this infinite space are spiritual creatures. Although they can be killed continuously if they stay in one place, they can only get a few bonus points each time they are defeated. The more times they are defeated, the more bonus points they get. For example, the bonus points Luo Feng got from defeating them just now were only 0.001. Generally, After defeating them 1,000 times, spiritual creatures may disappear and never appear again. There are 3 psychic creatures in the area that Senior Emperor Ming has allocated to me. 2 of them have disappeared in the past 100 centuries. The reward points for repelling the remaining psychic creature are so low that they can be ignored. Luo Feng thought to himself, it's time to leave. After all, the reward points this place can generate are minimal, and the sharpening of the mind and will is getting weaker and weaker. I have spent the past 100 centuries honing myself through the combination of mind pollution and the element art. Although my mental will has improved a bit, I still cannot kill the psychic creatures with the element art. These spiritual creatures have extremely strong vitality. Just like the moment when the other party's spiritual power seemed to be annihilated in an instant, the remaining spiritual will soon condensed. No wonder it is said that the ultimate spiritual will of the God King, using some of the most advanced spiritual will secrets, can only hope to destroy spiritual creatures. Call. Luo Feng took a step and was already far away. His flying speed was more than 100 times faster than when he first came to the infinite space. With just a few steps, he had already reached the edge of the Emperor Moth's whirl. Emperor, Luo Feng saluted respectfully. With the protection of the Emperor Moth, he was able to practice peacefully during the hundreds of epochs when he first came to the infinite space. Only after hundreds of epochs of growth did he have the confidence to gain a foothold in the infinite space. Oh, Luo He. The will of the Emperor Moth enveloped Luo Feng, and he was a little surprised. Your spiritual will has grown a lot in the past 100 centuries, and you are not far from the ultimate realm of the God King. It is because of the Emperor's mercy that I can practice safely in the infinite space and make such progress. Luo Feng said. The spiritual will of a normal practitioner grows very slowly, may even stagnate, or even regress. Even though Luo Feng had the elemental art, he spent most of his time practicing the Great Destruction method to constantly hone his spiritual will. Under normal circumstances, it would take tens of thousands of years to achieve the current growth rate. Infinite space. Luo Feng first encountered spiritual pollution, and was polluted again and again. He used the element technique to refine all the impurities and continued to refine. After refining and refining for hundreds of centuries, Luo Feng naturally gained a lot. But as time goes on, this help becomes less and less. The land that the Emperor gave me originally had 3 native creatures, but now 2 of them have disappeared, and the remaining one has earned very low reward points. Luo Feng said. Oh, it seems you have killed them quite a lot, said Emperor Moth. These 3 native creatures have been killed more than 1,000 times. Luo Feng said. Generally speaking, after more than 1,000 times, the native creatures may indeed disappear completely, and will usually be moved to some other distant place in infinite space. Emperor Moth said. Luo Feng understood. They were moved to other places. Given the vastness of infinite space, the possibility of encountering those 2 disappeared native creatures again is very low. I treat the royal children by granting them a piece of land in the early days, but they have to fight for it on their own afterwards, said Emperor Ming. I am also bidding farewell to the Emperor. Luo Feng said, I am going to open up a territory on my own. It would be amazing if you could reach the ultimate will of the God King in the Chaos Realm. The infinite space attaches great importance to this aspect and will also give rewards. Emperor Ming said, I also painted some robbery beast pictures in my spare time in the infinite space, so I'll give you one. As he spoke, a black and red scroll appeared out of thin air and flew towards Luo Feng. Even before the scroll was unfolded, Luo Feng could feel the powerful will contained in it. This is different from ordinary Calamity Beast paintings. Luo Feng immediately understood that the Calamity Beast paintings sold by the outside world might be early paintings by Emperor Ming. Luo Feng immediately took the scroll respectfully. You should have seen Shadow of the Robbery Beast, but the Shadow of the Robbery Beast is different from the painting of the Robbery Beast, said Emperor Ming. The painting is the Robbery Beast in the painter's mind, and the Robbery Beast in every painter's mind is different. Thank you, Your Majesty. Luo Feng was quite grateful. Speaking of which, his master Di Chu and Di Ming did not have a good relationship, but Di Ming still took care of him so much, so Luo Feng was naturally very grateful. Then Di Ming restrained his consciousness. Luo Feng saluted respectfully, then flew away and began to explore the infinite space alone. This video will end here.